We're going to talk about a DevRel team that doesn't sell anything. We're kind of weird, and we'll explain who we are and what we're doing here, and our journey, essentially learning what DevRel is all about and what it means to us. As I mentioned, we are G-Research, and we're kind of weird. We are what's called a quantitative research firm, which means that we use machine learning and data science tools to essentially trade on markets. And we take our money and we make more money out of it. The weird thing about this is that we don't actually sell anything to any person. There's no product, there's no customers, there are no clients. And so for the context of developer relations, as we'll talk about, it's a strange thing.
And our role also is part of the open source program office, which is slightly separate from G-Research and drives our mandate being slightly separate from G-Research. So yeah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Totally. Alex Gammon. I am the head of the open source program office here, and we've got a team of intrepid open source adventurers, about 20 of us who contribute upstream to all sorts of open source software, everything in data science, machine learning stuff around TensorFlow and Spark and Horovod and Pandas and all sorts of things there, to lots of things in the Kubernetes and OpenStack and infrastructure spaces, and then a whole bunch of other things around security and so a smattering of all sorts of pieces of open source software. So that's what the team does as a whole.
And my title is Director of Community and Developer Relations, Director of Open Source Community and Developer Relations.
There's a lot there.
And the developer relations portion is quite recent. It's a nascent team, newish, a few months now. And even the open source program office itself is about 3 years old. So all of what we're doing is new, and we're learning along the way, but we've come to learn more about developer relations and are thinking about what does DevRel mean to us.
Mm-hmm. Which is essentially exactly what we're going to talk about here. At some point, maybe earlier this year, somebody said we should do DevRel, and to be honest, we didn't know what it was. And so
we did some reading.
Yeah, started talking to people. Tamao is somebody that we reached out to help us, explain to us what this is. This journey, as it unfolded, the first step of it was trying to figure out what this whole thing was.
What the hell is DevRel?
Yeah.
So based on the reading and the research that we did, some sources told us it was marketing. It was a part of marketing. Some said it was a part of sales. It was selling a product, trying to draw in more customers. Some said it's support. We're offering support for these projects. Others said, no, it's recruiting. We're using this for recruiting. We are working with a high-level strategy consultant who's talking a lot about developer program, developer experience. And my background being community and education, I'm thinking it's community. We're growing community, right? Especially as an open source program office. So it sounds like developer relations can be a little bit of all of those things. And so again, we come back to what is it for us? What is it for the G-Research open source office?
And so for us, we
felt like that.
Yeah, to answer that, we had to figure out why we should do DevRel at all. And what it comes down to for us, two things really. We're doing this open source initiative, and we were doing all sorts of products, all sorts of projects that were really great, but the word about them wasn't getting out. And the communities around them were floundering. In some cases, people were feeling martyred by the amount of work that they were having to do and only receiving inbound issues and never building anything around. Yeah, it's terrible, terrible. And we realized that although the team itself was really good at doing the engineering, we weren't actually good at reaching out to the community and creating community, building on that. So very largely, the first and foremost piece for us was to take these projects and really help build the communities around them. And sometimes those are our projects that we have open sourced from within, but for the most part, we join other open source projects. We actually just want to help build those communities because we believe in those projects.
And they're tools that G-Research uses as well. But supporting the larger open source ecosystem has been our mandate in a lot of ways.
And the other piece of it for us is we hope that by doing this work, one aspect of our business will become easier, the ability to recruit people. One thing about G-Research is that the history of G-Research has been to be very secretive. We didn't want anybody to know who we were or where we were or what we were doing.
Very security focused.
That was just a choice that we made for the first 10, 15 years of G-Research's life. And that's changing. And as part of that, the open source team is out there on the front lines, actually doing things in the public and trying to build a positive reputation for the kind of work that we do in open source land. That in turn, we hope will impact our ability to recruit. When we speak to people, they might actually know who we are and that we're a London-based quantitative research firm and that
we're hiring, by the way.
Oh yeah. And then we do cool things in machine learning and data science stuff. So these two aspects are what we
That's
aim
why
to do.
we do DevRel. And then coming back around to what does DevRel then look like for us?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of pieces to this. I wish we had our notes for this.
I can pull up some of the nitty-gritty stuff.
Yeah,
so as Alex mentioned, we have multiple projects, somewhere between 25 and 30, maybe, probably more, open source projects that we support in some capacity. Several of those have come out of G-Research. They were built inside and then we've open sourced them. And so our goals with those are to draw in more users, to get other people contributing, to make this tool be useful to other enterprises, other individuals, whomever. Then some of our other tools we've had, we've taken over maintenance of them because they lost some of their maintainers. And so again, we want the tools to become robust and useful and healthy. There's a few smaller ones that we just want to have a few more contributors to. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
We were a little ahead of our slides
we're
there.
just ahead. But contributors to, I'll take over and talk about the other things that we've started doing. That at the beginning of this whole journey, after talking with all the people that we spoke to in the beginning, actually through Hoopy and DevRelCon connections, we have been working with a person to help set a high-level strategy of this vision of ours, what we are doing to build community and to improve outreach of G-Researcher's name, setting a high-level strategy and actually building a plan for what we want to do and the actual strategy.
And how it looks a little different for all of these different projects.
Second, we have hired and are hiring other DevRel engineers to actually go out and talk about our projects and do work improving all of what we do. Third, we have had to spend a bunch of time explaining what we have learned about DevRel to all of our upper management.
Education.
Yeah, like if we didn't know what any of this was, we were very, very certain that nobody else at our company knew anything about this. So a whole bunch of this has been internal education, training people to understand that this is actually a really good thing, that we really need this. And lastly, we've been talking with as many people as we can, continuing that part of our journey, trying to continue to educate ourselves and to invite feedback and get better at what we're doing at every step of the way. So,
and some of the nitty-gritty of what each of the DevRel people on our team is doing or is going to be doing involves speaking at conferences, writing blog posts about our projects, improving the documentation, quick start guides, making little demos of the projects, just a lot of outreach and improvement of them so far. Communicating more with the developers, contributing code where possible. That's sort of the smaller picture, but it really varies based on the needs of each of the different software projects.
And with that, the end of our little journey of our road through DevRel so far is an invitation to reach out and give us feedback on what we're thinking about, whether we're missing anything. We would love to talk about your journeys.
Who else is doing open source out there and using developer relations?
Yeah. Our emails are here, alex@gr-oss.io, Caterina at the same domain.
And we're hiring,
Oh,
both for DevRel
yeah.
and G Research. So we'd love to have more people contribute and join us.
And with that, that is our very brief blast through our world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.